Fellow Kenyans, in the last few weeks, we have made it our business to travel around the country and know how the Kenyan people feel about this government and the projects that it's doing. And I can report that we are extremely disappointed. Our taxes are being pilfered, embezzled in a way that we've never seen before. Ni wizi bila kazi. And it's a great disappointment to every person of every generation in Kenya for the kind of theft and thuggery that we are seeing in government. Nothing is happening without plunder and theft. And unfortunately, we have the President of the Republic of Kenya leading the way by being the most corrupt individual in our government. Now, fellow Kenyans, it's a time for us to ask ourselves, what are we waiting for? Are we going to sit back and watch as individuals take away our country and bring our economy to the rubble and to total collapse? Right now, the president is in China to borrow another loan of 40 billion Kenya shillings. I would like to ask the people of Kenya, ni nyinyi mumemupa ruhusa ya kukopa 40 billion? Na kama ni nyinyi mmempa ruhusa, are you aware that the 40 billion that is coming here for corruption and theft? Right now in Kenya today, we have a debt of over 7 trillion which cannot be accounted for. Money that has been stolen. We have a Public Finance Management Act that does not comply with the Constitution, that purports to amend the Constitution. Tuko na sheria ambayo inakubalia serikali yetu kufungua account za serikali nje ya nchi bila ruhusa ya bunge. Just recently, an account was opened at a bank in America called JP Morgan, and $2 billion was put in that account. And out of that $2 billion, $1 billion was transferred to another account. This account was opened in the name of Kenya Sovereign Wealth Fund. Signature came from the CS of Treasury. And they opened another account in Qatar, and $1 billion was stolen. $1 billion is 130 billion Kenya shillings. Right now, we are being told that the best way to build our country is through public-private partnership, where the president is purporting to lease our airport, a national pride, a strategic asset to the nation, the gateway to our country. This is something that affects national security, and our president is willing to give our airport to corrupt Indians to run it. For 30 years, he should have even given the lease to the end of his term, but he's willing to give our airport for 30 years. This thing called public-private partnership is used to do money laundering in our country. The president is saying he is very proud of the expressway, but the expressway is a crime scene. The expressway ni pesa yetu ambayo iliibiwa kutoka SGR, kampuni ikaenda ikaregistrwa na Wakenya kule China, ikakuja Kenya ikajenga expressway, wakaanza kulipisha to launder money that was stolen through corruption. We've been to Nyandarua, where there is the Captain Ndunyunjeru Road, which is Mau Mau Lot 4. We've been to Ikumbi Road in Kigumo. We've been to Olengoroni Stadium in Nakuru. We've been to Kamarini Stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet. We've been to the Kipkaren Water Treatment Project in Uasin Gishu. We've been to the Kangundo Road Wakulima's Market. We've been to Makweni, Katua Ke Nunguni Road, which was allocated 362 million and 255 million already stolen, and there is no road. We've been to Kabonyo Kanyagwal, a project worth 2.5 billion. That there is nothing to see. We've been to Kisumu, Afri Cities Convention Center, and got Nanga Barube Road in Siaya, which are stalled, and Kanyadhiang Kadel Road in Homa Bay, and Mbita Sindosori Road. And all these are investments by this government where money is stolen and nothing is done. Wakenya wenzangu, ni vizuri tuanze kujiuliza kama ni kweli tumewapa wanasiasa ruhusa ya kuiba pesa za wananchi wa Kenya. The reason we've been traveling around the country is because 70% of the electorate of our country does not understand that corruption affects them. Therefore, this is a call to you, a Kenyan, kama mimi. Ni wakati wako usimame na Kenya. Don't leave this for Morara or this team. It is now your personal responsibility to do the little that you can do in the space that you occupy to change our country. Mjue kwamba 70% ya wapiga kura Kenya wako mashinani na informal settlements. Na kule hata labda hizi televisheni ambazo tunatazama hawatazami hizo. Ni vizuri tujiondoe in our comfort zone, tuende mahali wako kwa ground. Tuzungumze nao. Kwa sababu watu ambao wako mashinani wanafikiria kwamba ufisadi ni mambo ya watu wa Nairobi. Kwa sababu mtu ambaye yako mashinani hajawahi kuna wengine hawajawahi kuguza milioni ama hawajawahi kuguza 500,000. Sasa ukimwambia bilioni 5 ama bilioni 12 imeiba from treasury, hawaelewi and they are not able to connect. Ni vizuri tuende tuwazungumzie waelewe kwamba hiyo barabara ambayo iko karibu na wao imeibwa. Waelewe kwamba hiyo hospitali ambayo iko karibu na wao ambayo mtu alikufa kwa sababu hakukuwa na MRI machine ama hakukuwa na X-ray machine ama hakuna dialysis machine ama hakuna oncologist. Waelewe kwamba hiyo ni ufisadi. There is over 3 billion and I can confirm with authority that 3 billion was allocated through parliament for equipping level 3 and level 4 hospitals, and the whole 3 billion was stolen. Nothing was ever bought. Kwa hivyo Mkenya popote ulipo, ujue kwamba hii kazi sio yetu peke yetu. Lazima tushikane mikono. Tujitolee. Kila mtu azungumze na familia yake. Uzungumze na marafiki zako. Mkiwa katika chama ya wamama, zungumzia uongozi mbaya na ufisadi. Ukiwa katika kuchumbiana ama date, set aside 5 minutes ya kuongelea mambo ya ufisadi na uongozi mbaya. Na mimi nataka kumuonya na kumpa onyo kali Mheshimiwa William Ruto. Nilimwambia kwenye televisheni tukiwa JKL kwamba yeye tayari amekwisha kuwa bilionea. Hakuna kitu kingine ambayo pesa inaweza kumsaidia kwa sasa. Hawezi kununua afya njema na hawezi kununua uzima wa milele na milele. William Ruto, you cannot buy eternal life. Stop stealing. If the president stops stealing, members of parliament wataacha kuiba. Governors wataacha kuiba. Senators wataacha kuiba. Kama rais mwenyewe anaweza kuacha ufisadi. This spirit of greed must end in our country. And I'm encouraging all the people of our country across all generations, whether you are a Gen Z, a millennial, a baby boomer, this is your moment. Usijione mdogo. Na usione kama uko na followers kidogo, ama wewe si mwanasiasa, ama wewe si mtu wa kuzungumza. Sisi ambao tumesimama hapa tumejitolea. Na hatujajitolea kwa sababu tunataka viti vya siasa. In fact, I want to tell all Kenyans today that if you find me running for member of parliament, munipige viboko. If you find me running for senator, na ni najizungumzia, I'm not speaking for the rest. It's time, of course, for the youth to take up leadership positions, so they may want to take up those positions. I'm speaking for myself that I'm not interested in being a member of parliament in any constituency in the Republic of Kenya. I'm not interested in being a senator of any county. I'm not interested in being a governor of every county. What I'm doing is patriotism to my nation. If the people of Kenya see it fit to take me to a higher level and give me a higher platform so that I can defend them and so that I can take the nation forward, I'll humbly accept it. But as of now, we are not doing this because we are interested in anything. Therefore, wewe pia wewe Mkenya, usi-expect kitu. Do it out of passion and out of love for our country. We don't want change tomorrow. We want change today. Thank you very much. I want to give the floor to my colleagues here. I have young professionals who are doing very well in the various fields where they are. And I'd like to give them an opportunity on the floor so they come up and talk to you about the various issues in our country like impunity and abuse of office, and to talk about this project that the government is talking about, what kind of workmanship is in those projects. Kwa sababu tulishasema kwamba kazi ya William Ruto ni wizi bila kazi. Akilaunch mradi haitaanza, na ikianza itasimama, na ikiisha pesa itaporwa na itafanywa vibaya. So somebody is going to also talk about that, and somebody is also going to talk about abductions and misuse of the criminal justice system and marginalization of communities. Kwa hivyo napenda nimpe sasa ruhusa wakili Steve Mbugwa, who is also a council member of the Law Society of Kenya, wakili tajika hapa Nairobi, ili aje pia azungumze msikia. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, fellow Kenyans. I would like to start by mentioning that as Kenyans, we need to be very patriotic, and as young people, we need to be very deliberate. And I say this because we have witnessed serious misuse of power and impunity of the highest level in this country. The head of state has over time made it very clear that he's not going to comply with court orders and is going to disregard the rule of law. True, he's living to his true beliefs, because in 2010, when we were voting for the 2010 Constitution, the president rallied against this constitution, and he voted against this constitution. A clear indication that he doesn't believe in the rule of law, he doesn't believe in constitutionalism, and therefore he does not respect human rights, human dignity, and all the rights and principles of good governance for this country, which we gave unto ourselves. That has been exhibited by his subordinates and his juniors at the National Police Service. We witnessed yesterday where the acting Inspector General of Police failed to honor the court orders on the excuse that he is attending serious meetings and workshops in Mombasa, and yet there was a court order issued on 23rd of August, on 26th of August again, and on 3rd of September. And he never appeared. 6 times he was summoned by the court to appear, and he failed to appear in court. A clear disregard of the rule of law, a clear disrespect to the judiciary, and a clear disrespect to the Constitution. That has emanated to the serious abductions we have been seeing and forced disappearances. Right now, we don't know the whereabouts of Bob Jagi. We don't know the whereabouts of Nadine Longton. We don't know about his brother Jamil, where he is. All those were arrested because of protest in Kitengela, and nobody knows their whereabouts. When the Inspector General of Police is called upon to explain the whereabouts of these persons, he does not appear, and instead disrespect the court system. And the question we ask ourselves ni, kama hawa hawaheshimu sheria, sisi kama wa Kenya, where do we stand? What is our fate as young people? And therefore, I want to call upon each and everyone outside in this country and outside this country, that we must demand for accountability, we must demand for good governance, we must demand for respect to the rule of law, we must demand for accountable government. And we young people must remember one thing, that for our future to be safe and secure, we must become deliberate today by creating it. And that is the only way we can guarantee our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wakili. That is Wakili Steve Mbugwa, Council Member of the Law Society of Kenya. I now want to give the floor to Engineer Evans Kimori. Engineer Evans Kimori is a civil engineer and a former engineer at the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA. He will come and speak about stalled projects and projects which have been constructed where the workmanship is also very poor, and also the looting and pilfering of public funds through contracts for construction of various infrastructure, including roads, bridges, hospitals, and the like. Karibu sana, engineer.
Thank you so much, Morara Kebaso. It's indeed a great honor to stand here as young generation, as members of as members who have a great cause. We are members of the same avian species, of the same plumage, who have conglomerated here today to make this nation a great nation. Recently, we have been visiting several projects, and as a trained engineer, I can certify that the projects that we have visited, launched by none other than the president of this country, have become redundant. And this is the reason. I can give an example of Kuala Ugunja Road. We visited the project, and going to the technical aspect, in any project that you are undertaking as an engineer or as a contractor who is implementing the project, there is safety component, which is a key component in civil engineering. The project was just left in a state of unsafe situation whereby the citizens around were having a situation that they cannot be able to fathom. Immediately we left the project, Kenya National Highways Authority closed the road. Where were they before we came? That's just an example of that road. Another road that we visited is Mbita Sondu Road, which has a valley within a road. That is another gigantic tragedy as far as civil engineering is concerned. We are shocked on how projects are being launched left, right, center by the president. Each and every time a project is launched, the president spends approximately 20 to 30 million. If we give an arithmetic connotation, you will find that approximately that is 25 million times maybe 100 projects.
2.5 billion.
That is 2.5 billion. That is enough to build. That is enough to build a cancer center in Meru. That is enough to build a Western Art and Incubation Center in Western region. So to me, this is a situation that we call upon our president to take full responsibility for misusing the Kenyan money. I can tell you for a fact, we have visited several projects, and any person at the village level or where the projects are can go and do the same and confirm if you are lying. It is indeed shocking that we have had information that the president called the chiefs and instructed them to remove his name from where he launched the project. In fact, today, as you are speaking, the president is in China to take a loan on behalf of our country so that he can come and launch another road. This is a sad state of the nation. The greatness of a nation's future depends on how we think, but not how accurately we remember. We are the great thinkers of the next generation. It is a generational change. It is a clarion call that you are calling each and every person to come up and stand for his right. Thank you so much and be blessed.
Thank you. That is Engineer Evans Kimori, a civil engineer. And something that engineer, I might just add on that. We are very disappointed with professional bodies in Kenya with regards to the willingness, and more especially the Engineers Board of Kenya, the willingness to eject from practice engineers that deliver projects that are dangerous to the public and that are very shoddy. Because if you see some of the roads that have been launched, if you see the dense bituminous macadam, I think that's what we call it?
Yes, the DBM.
They say they are upgrading a road to bitumen standards. And if you look at the dense bituminous macadam, it's very thin and a very poor mixture. In some of the roads, we will pick samples and take it for lab test. There is very shoddy work being done in Kenya, where roads are built without drainages, roads are built without road signs, roads are built without road markings, roads are built without speed, anything to speed bumps. Very dangerous roads that will kill people, most definitely. And it has already been proven that lies can kill. Uongo inaua. Already uongo ya William Ruto imeua watu Nithi Bridge. So we need to be very serious about the quality of the things that are being built, because we have hospitals which are being built in a very haphazard manner. The hospital itself is a danger to the patients. We have very poor workmanship. And these engineers, they are certified and licensed by the Engineers Board of Kenya. Which begs me to ask, what the hell is Engineers Board of Kenya doing about engineers who are producing shoddy work in the institutions where they are working? Secondly, we have the Institute of Public Accountants, ISPAC, What are they doing about these accountants and auditors that are cooking government books where corruption is all over the place? I spoke to the Auditor General and told her that 90% of the corruption in Kenya doesn't even get to the Auditor General's report. So there's a role to be played by professional bodies. I'm grateful for the effort that the Law Society of Kenya is putting in terms of trying to actually deregister and strike off the role of advocates, those advocates that participate in corruption. I believe that they can do better and that they can do more, because the role of advocates is full of people who are encouraging corruption. In every corruption scandal, there is a rogue advocate involved. We need to rein in on those professionals who are participating in the theft and holding public funds in client accounts in the name of holding funds for clients. Kwa hivyo, professional organizations, we are asking for your help. You are not toothless, you are not unable, you are not powerless. You've been given the power by the law to deal with some of these professionals. Please do something about it so that we have a better country and a better nation and opportunities for everybody to live, work and grow. And I want to invite Wakili Joshua Okayo. Wakili Joshua Okayo is a man who has been through a lot. He has been abducted and tortured, and he still stands today as the president of the Kenya School of Law, and is coming to speak his piece. Karibu Wakili.
Thank you, Morara, and thank you, Kenyans. It's a sad day that even as we mourn families, youth who were lost during the protests, and even as we gather to try and find a number of youths who've since gone lost and have not been found, the president has the audacity and the temerity to tell the people of Kenya that he is not aware of anyone who has been abducted, and should there be any such case, then it should be reported to him. Number one, this is a person who doesn't know what is happening in his country. And if he does know and he is ignoring that fact, then that means he's the one behind these abductions. So it is time we raise our voices higher and speak to the kind of disregard of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that is happening in Kenya right now. And I think it's incumbent we make it known that Kenya has not ratified the International Instrument on Enforced Disappearances. And this must be done with immediate effect. I think it's time we ratify this instrument. It's important to lead us in a way to try sanitize the country or get the country clean of these abductions and enforced disappearances. At the same time, we need a national, or rather a local instrument. And that means there should be an act of parliament that speaks to enforced disappearances and abductions in this case. We cannot just have the provisions on, in two articles, 25 and 51 of the Constitution, speaking about habeas corpus, and it stops there, nothing more. And also, there's also another provision in the Criminal Procedure Code. We cannot have only 3 mentions on something that is of national importance as enforced disappearance at this moment. So the government must respect the rule of law, and it must implement the provisions of the Constitution, which are the aspirations of Kenya, that the Kenyans decided that this is what we aspire to achieve as a country. Last week we were touring the Nyanza region, and my colleagues have spoken about quite a number of projects. Kadiel Kanyadhiang, Afri-Cities project in Kisumu, we have the Mbita Sindo Road, and many others. Look, the worst road we have seen so far in our tour of the country is the Mbita Sindo Sori Road. Very bad. It's in a sorry state. That tells you that that region is actually marginalized.
3 billion.
And that road cost 3 billion Kenya shillings. 3 billion. And my engineer here said it has a valley within a road. You can imagine. 3 billion. All right? 74 kilometers road, only 12 kilometers is done, and it's not done. Because you use 1 to 2 hours to cover 12 kilometers. How so? So really, that region has been marginalized, and I think it's time we be serious. It's time we get serious, and I encourage the government. President William Ruto, you toured that region, I think 1 week ago. Please respect your promises. please deliver on your promises, because you cannot go around lying to unsuspecting Kenyans, telling them how good life is gonna be after you leave that region, but then projects stay stalled. All right, things are not implemented. Money is poured, but the hugest chunk of that money go to your pocket. We cannot continue living like this. At this point, Kenyans, we have to speak for ourselves, and that is why we are here today. And we are telling you that we can only do so much, but with you together, we can do the most for this country, and we can deliver this country out of the hands of these money-thirsty cabals. Thank you so much. May God bless you, and we hope all of you join us in this journey towards a new, better Kenya. Thank you.
Asante sana wakili. Let's give him a hand of a clap. I know yesterday I put out an announcement that I've cancelled my tour of Mount Kenya region because of security reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, even as we stand here, it's not been easy for us. We've been through threats. We've been through being followed. Just the other day, my lawyer Solonka Pareno, who is not here, was followed. I have also been followed by a double cabin KCU, a black double cabin that was fully tinted. When we checked the number plate, it belonged to a Mazda Demio. So we know the tactics the government is using to intimidate us. This government that does not provide drugs to hospitals has bought a system called Pegasus from Israel, which is using to tap our phones. But we can tell them that they cannot beat us in technology. In fact, the only advantage they have over us is that they have money. The advantage that we have over them is, number one, we are truthful and honest. And number two, we are young. We can get what they have, but they cannot get what we have. Therefore, the state should not intimidate me as the leader of this team, and it should not intimidate any leader who is part of this team. I am warning the Inspector General that if anything happens to my team, he will be personally held liable. Personally. Therefore, our safety and security is his responsibility and his headache. He should think about how to make us safe without spying on us. This same government has a machine called Phantom. Phantom is being used by NIS to track your phone even when the phone is off. This government at DCI headquarters, it has the Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau, which we fund with our taxes so that it can protect us, so that it can collect intelligence on criminal activities and protect the nation. But it is using its back-end access to Safaricom to access customer data from Safaricom and know where to find people who've been abducted and killed. IPOA keeps promising us that it will deliver, but the Independent Police Oversight Authority so far has delivered nothing in terms of defending the people and the families of those who've lost their lives and who've been kidnapped. This same government is using Kenya Power to check where we pay our tokens so that they can know our houses and our homes for abductions. We want to tell them that the fear is gone. And when we lose our fear, they lose their power. And because we are not afraid, we are not going to run and we are not going to hide. Regardless of the fact that we cancelled our Mount Kenya tour because they had planned people to come and infiltrate us and attack us on the way, because some of these stalled projects where money has been stolen, they are in very remote areas where the public is not there, where nobody can scream. So that we are attacked huko kwa bush when looking for them. I want to tell them that our God is still seated on the throne. The God or Allah of Kenya is still seated on the throne, and he will defend us because our God is a God of truth. We want to ask all Kenyans to pray for us, keep us in your prayers, support us where you can. You can fundraise for us fuel where you can and to maintain our security. But most importantly, amplify our voices. When we speak, amplify it so that we get rid of all this mediocrity in our governance once and for all. William Ruto is convinced that he has bought parliament and he has